welcome. I'm a little worse for wear today. It has been pouring thunderstorms like crazy, in and out, on and off, just like yesterday. Very strange weather indeed. I'm out here in my woodland garden just checking things out. I've been planting a lot of perennials. I've been planting a lot of berry bushes and pollinating flowers and flowering trees. And then I've got squashes that I've got here. This is kind of like the edge of a woodland. So we have cut these pine trees up as high as we could reach, maybe last year, I think it was. And now we've got a little bit more light in here than we used to have. I also cut back my magnolias, which I'm going to be cutting again this week. Grabbing the chainsaw, it's my favorite thing. Yeah. So I'm on here today to let you know we're 3 days out from the gardening. Look at me, I'm soaked. The gardening and self-sufficiency workshop through JAHealing. Make sure that you pre-register for it. We're going to talk about gardening, self-reliance, self-sufficiency, permaculture gardening, something like this. So this is what I was actually talking about when I'm talking about permaculture. So I have the tall canopy trees, and these are very tall white pines, okay? Then I have put in here, trying to make this a more usable spot. This used to have like nothing here, and now I've made it into a lush woodland garden. I do have my rain barrels here. I'm collecting water. So I have, here's some nettle that I'm growing for Mom, but I've got some dogwoods here. I've got some haskap berry bushes. Here's none. Here's a flowering currant. I've got a nice blueberry. I have tiger lilies growing. I have sea oats. I've got stilly. I've got beautiful ferns. These are lady ferns. There are 3 types of ferns that are edible. One is the ostrich fern, the fiddleheads. The second one is this beautiful fern. I've got one with the red vein and one with the green vein, and he's just over there. And then I think it's a bracken fern. I don't have that, but I'm looking for one. So if I can find one, that bracken fern will go in here too. So I've got josta berry. I've got some Saskatoon berry. I also have another Saskatoon berry here that I bought this year, and a bunch of squashes. I've got echinacea. I've got motherwort. I've got autumn olive. I've got a Nanking cherry here. I'm putting in a cornelian cherry this year here that I've already got ready to go. And yeah, we're just trying to build this area up because, again, this was completely unusable space. A work in progress, but it's working really, really well. I've got creeping mints. I've got some beautiful oregano growing in here. I've got lemon and lime balm growing. Here's my autumn olive. I've got some black-eyed Susan, Pearly's sandbox that we haven't used this year. And I've got some raspberries and things like that. I'm going to be putting in a blackberry probably today. But yeah, I got a lot going on. I've got peas growing up. This is my vine layer of the permaculture, right? So again, the top canopy, and then you've got the shorter canopy with the dogwoods and smaller trees like the Nanking. Then you've got your berry bushes. And then you've got your perennial flowers that are nice and tall, like my rudbeckia and my echinacea. And then I've even got tomatoes here on the edge of my woodland garden here in a nice pot. I've got herbs, creeping herbs, ground cover, and then I've got vines. I have hops growing, sterling and pearl hops. They're growing up of the pine trees. I've got peas that I've reseeded for fall. I'm already starting to organize fall gardens. Got to be ahead of the game. And some beautiful perennial flowers that I've been able to find. I try and wait to the end of the season to either grab some really cheap perennials because they're very expensive. Oh my goodness. I couldn't believe the prices this year. Prices have gone up astronomically. Otherwise, you want to reseed, you want to get seeds. They're very inexpensive, all things considered. I've even seeded with some of my own wildflower mix, and you can actually find my wildflower mix on my Etsy shop. But I've sprinkled that in, and I'm waiting to see some results of all those beautiful flowers that I've planted the seeds for. So that being said, join us this Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time through JAHealing for the gardening and self-sufficiency workshop. We'll talk more about permaculture. We'll talk more about self-sufficiency and growing your own food, enough food for you to survive if anything happens, if the, you know, the bottom falls out like it did this past year. I've got some beautiful hostas growing. Everything's blooming. Got some beautiful colors here. Let me show you. I've got my obedient plant. Aren't they cool? They kind of look like zippers. I love those. And then here's what goes on here. I've got, let me see what I'm showing you. Yeah, I have my strawberry nasturtium, strawberry color, and my buttercream. And then you look up and you've got hostas. And you've got a beautiful hot pink hydrangea. And then you've got more hostas. Beautiful dark purple color. I've got my bright orange tiger lilies. And then my light colored hostas. And then these big bad boys, it just looks like a monstrosity right now. These are sunchokes. So they are actually a type of sunflower, but they have an edible tuber. And that is going to create bushel loads full of sunchokes for the fall. You want to wait actually until after the first frost to collect them because they have a substance in them that tends to cause gas. So if you wait until after that first frost, that substance sort of changes its composition, and not only are the sunchokes a little sweeter and more delicious to eat, but they also alleviate that gaseous problem. No one likes that, right? I've got some beautiful purple hydrangea. My smoke bush is in bloom. My tamarisk is falling over. I don't want to show you that now. I have speedwell. This is a purple variety of speedwell. It's also called Veronica. I have a hot pink one in the back. The bees and the pollinators love that. I try and plant them in amongst my garden here. So my veggies. I've got corn growing. I've got potatoes all through this whole area. I've got beans going. I've got a giant, enormous pile of mulch. That's half of what it was. It was over my head. An arborist dropped me some chips, and that was pretty awesome. But it was a lot to deal with. I've got a weed again. It's been so much rain, like I said yesterday. A lot of rain. And with a lot of rain comes a lot of growing. And a lot of growing, not just of your own plants, but of the quote-unquote weeds, right? So there we go. Oh, I've got my towering phlox. I've got some gerbera daisies. I know that they're not edible, but you can decorate with them. And also they're great for pollinators. I've got my geraniums finally are popping everywhere. I planted them early. There we go. I've got blanket flower. What else am I doing? I've got lemon balm here. And these potatoes. I've got sedum growing. I've got a beautiful yucca. Garlics all throughout. I have yams growing. I have Chinese potatoes. I'm going to be planting a hardy orange tree this year, which is hardy to my zone. It's called a trifoliate orange. And who knew you could grow citrus in Canada? But you can. Do some research, guys. And you'll see some amazing, amazing things that you may have never ever thought you could grow. It's awesome. I've got impatiens all through my woodland here. So my woodland garden is very shaded. I would say it's part shade. It does get a lot more sun than you'd think. See, there's my compost. Not the prettiest thing, but it's kind of hidden. Has a nice little path. A lot of this isn't bloomed out yet. I'm working on this garden and I'm mulching as I go. The pine trees provide a lot of great mulch in the fall. When the needles fall, it's amazing. And it nourishes the soil. It also provides a little bit of an acidic environment. And because of that, I can have success with blueberries here, where I might not be able to get blueberries elsewhere in my yard. I've got some prairie sun daisies to go in. Got a lot of planting going on. I'm still planting. A lot of people are done, but my job is never done. I'm always working on better ways and newer things. Here I got some great yucca. Here's my hostas, which are, of course, they were edible in the spring. My tiger lilies. Tiger lilies are edible. The daylilies are. The flowers are edible, and they're very delicious, in fact. So, anyway, thought I'd share my little woodland garden with you. I have a lot of great things that started in my hoop house over the winter, and they're just continuing. I've got some great greens. I've got turnips and kohlrabi. I've got lettuces. My cabbages went to seed, and that's okay. I let them go to seed because I want them to seed themselves for the fall. I have my red-veined sorrel. That's going to seed, and that's great too. I've got beautiful herbs coming out. I've got established herbs now. I've got oregano. I've got thyme coming out of my logs. And I've got mushrooms, the fungal layer, the last final layer of the permaculture system is the fungal layer. And I have mushrooms starting. I'm sporing the mulch as I go. And I should have some delicious, beautiful mushrooms to show you. I've planted a lot of fall greens, winter greens here, kale, cabbage, again, kohlrabi, radishes. I have some quick crops in here too. Swiss chard. They'll last well into the frost and be delicious. I've got zucchini here. Because we are on the edge of the woodland, I still have enough sun to be able to produce some of these great vegetables that you otherwise might not think you could. Chives, garlic, onions of all varieties I have here. And this eventually will be a very productive and very interesting garden, whereas it wasn't used before, again. All right, so join us on Saturday. I hope you do. It's going to be a fun time. Again, July 17th, it's the first of a 5-part workshop. You can, join us for one or a couple or whichever one you want, or you can buy them in the entire package of 5, and I believe JAHealing gives you a discount if you do so. So I hope that we see you. It's open not just to the ladies, but it's also open to the men this year, and couples or whoever wants to join in and learn some things about how to garden and how to make things more productive in your yard. Again, I'm not working for things that aren't working for me. No grass. You don't see grass in my yard. Anything that's not edible or medicinal is getting pulled and it's being replaced. So I hope that interests you, and if it does, come join us, okay? Talk to you soon. Be a champion on your homestead. This is a suburban homestead, by the way. I'm not on a farm. I'm literally, my neighbors are very close, but I do have a nice sized property, and I'm able to produce enough food for us, and to be able to preserve that food through the fall and winter. If something ever happened, we would be able to survive on the vegetables and fruits and the herbs, medicines that I've grown, right? Boy, the hoop house doesn't look too nice, but it is very functional in the winter. I cover it with poly, and it works very well. Again, permaculture, works in progress. I have vision. You'll see my vision. All right. Talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.